Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Astottara Satashri Srimat His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astottara Satishvi Srimati His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nantakoti Vaishnav Vrindi Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। श्री नवद्वीप मायपुर धाम की जय। श्री मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So we continue reading from the book I'll Build You a Temple, the Jew Story by His Holiness Giriraj Swami. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurul Militam Yena Tasme Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate. Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Satyadevi Pranamami Hari Priye. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschetha Dishatharine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavbhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We continue reading from the chapter Facing Challenges. After Nara Narayan left, we didn't have a steady gardener for almost 2 years until Shankar Das arrived after Gaur Purnima in 1974. I did not know how to do anything, Shankar later admitted, but I feel in my heart that I was blessed by Prabhupada to learn gardening. When I arrived, Chaitya Guru, the temple commander, took me to see Prabhupada and has said, Srila Prabhupada, you have asked me to come to Bombay. What would you like me to do? I want you to to plant a flower in every square inch of Hare Krishna land, he told me, and we offered our obeisances and left. So here we are now introduced to a new personality, another personality, Shankar Prabhu, who has come to join the devotees in Juhu Beach, Bombay or Mumbai. You may know Shankar Prabhu recently left his body within the last year in America. He left his body. So here we hear of Shankar Prabhu coming to Bombay. He's one of the new personalities that joined the yatra there. The next day we went back for clarification, and I asked Prabhupada, "Would you like me to grow vegetables?" "No," he said, "our space is limited. It will be cheaper to buy them in the local market." "What about fruit?" "Yes, guavas, chicus, bananas." Prabhupada passed the garden every day on his morning walk, and sometimes after Shankar's arrival he noticed that there still weren't any fruits or flowers growing. "Where are the flowers?" he asked Shankar. But there was never any. There never was any. "He's just bluffing," Prabhupada commented. "He does not know what he's doing. Simply bluffing." Then one morning after he had returned from traveling in India, Prabhupada went out for his morning walk and saw the garden was full of fruits and flowers. He was very pleased with Shankar's service, and thereafter Shankar would offer Prabhupada a flower every day and become known as Prabhupada's flower boy. Shankar grew papayas, guavas, chicus, and strawberries, bananas, small and pink inside and very sweet. One day at the airport, when Prabhupada was about to depart for London, he recalled, "I brought a big load of ripe bananas and asked Prabhupada if he would like one. He opened his eyes wide and said, 'You grew these?' 'Yes,' I replied. 'I have grown them for you.' He grabbed one, peeled it, and ate it all. 'These are very good,' he said. 'Now pass them out to everyone in the airport.' And while I was distributing the bananas, Harikesha jumped up on a table and started preaching. Prabhupada really appreciated when we grew our own food." So this was his philosophy: simple living and high thinking. Simple living is you have land, you grow your own food, then your economic problem is solved. You don't have to worry about food when you grow your own food. And high thinking is to cultivate Krishna consciousness. So this is a new personality that we read of, Shankar Prabhu, who came. I was fortunate enough in 2002 in Vrindavan during the Kartik festival, during the time of Srila Prabhupada's disappearance festival, that I heard Shankar Prabhu, and he mentioned this pastime. And it was nice to see him personally. And unfortunately, he's gone back to Krishna. He left his body within the last year while living in America. We continue. One morning in April, having returned to the temple from Juhu Beach and greeted the deities, Prabhupada sat down to give Bhagavatam class, and Tamal Krishna asked him if we could offer arti to him. At first, Prabhupada refused, but Tamal Krishna pressed his entreaty, and ultimately Prabhupada agreed. So Tamal Krishna offered arti, and Achyutananda led by the devotees in singing Shri Guru Charana Padma, although he was practically the only one who knew the words. This was the first official Guru Puja ever offered to Srila Prabhupada. It was a wonderful feeling for all the devotees to worship him in that way, singing and dancing and jumping in an ecstatic mood. Of all the living entities in the entire universe, I was thinking we had to be the most fortunate. Not only did we have Prabhupada in our presence, but we would now be able to worship him with Aarti every morning. In Calcutta, to purchase things for the Nairobi temple, Brahmananda had gotten a pair of padukas, the wooden thong slippers worn by sadhus, and had them covered with silver and engraved with Prabhupada's name and the title Founder Acharya. My idea, he said later, was to touch them to Prabhupada's feet and then bring them back to Nairobi and worship them on the altar. So one morning at the Guru Puja, I ceremoniously placed them on the cushion for Prabhupada's feet, where the devotees offered flowers. Prabhupada saw them and showed his approval, smiling and slipping his feet into them and wearing them as the devotees showered them with flower offerings. Guru Puja was a special feature of our experience with Prabhupada in Bombay. But then, when I went back to Africa, Bhagavata recalled, I told the devotees that this was how we were going to have the morning program and Guru Puja to Prabhupada. And similarly, the other devotees went to other temples and instituted this standard. And without making an effort, the news spread to all other centers. Soon devotees everywhere were offering Aarti to Prabhupada as Guru Puja right after or before the greeting of the deities. So this is another historical moment. The first offering of Guru Puja directly to Srila Prabhupada took place in Bombay, 1974. So also in Bombay, Prabhupada arranged for the first Sunday Love Feast. We know of the Sunday Love Feast was started by Srila Prabhupada in 26 2nd Avenue in New York City around 1966 when he had a program and he served out a feast, and Prabhupada went back into the kitchen to wash the pots, and a few devotees came to help him. And Prabhupada said, from now on we'll have this program. Every Sunday we'll invite our friends and guests to come, and we'll have this program and we'll serve out a nice feast. We'll call it the Sunday Love Feast. So it was started in New York by Prabhupada himself in 1966. But here we'll read, now in Bombay in 1974, Srila Prabhupada is starting the Sunday Love Feast, and what his idea was in Bombay of the Love Feast. Prabhupada was concerned that our preaching thrive. We have to become very strong preachers, he said on one morning walk in LA. Then this movement will stay. He instructed that we send a monthly newsletter to all the life members, informing them of our activities, lest they think we are dead. And after his return from Hyderabad in April 29th, he introduced the Sunday Love Feast for them in Juhu. He had us invite all the members and even phone many personally just to make sure they would come. And we arranged a feast with nice plates and utensils. The members started to arrive before the noon Aarti. Afterward, Prabhupada came down, sat on the Vyasasan, gave a brief talk. Then he had us serve the prasada. We offered him the first plate, but he was not interested in eating. He was focused on the members and personally supervised the serving. Devotees placed a plate in front of each of the guests and came around with pots filled with the various preparations. If Prabhupada saw that a member needed more of anything, he would order the devotee to bring it. When the members had finished their prasada, they started to take their own plates away. But Prabhupada stopped them. No, no, let the plates remain. My disciples will take them. The members, as proper Vaishnavas and cultured Hindus, insisted, no, no, we will take them. But Prabhupada asserted himself, no, you leave them. You just go and my disciples will take care and clean them. And the members left their plates and washed their hands. The temple room was completely full with guests. 150 must have taken prasada. A large number considering how many members we had then, how far away Juhu was from most of them, and how small the temple was. At the end, everyone gathered for photos, and Prabhupada on his Vyasasan, flanked by the prominent members, Biharilal Kandelwal, Kartika Mahadeva, Mr. Sethi, Mr. Ashnani, Mr. Shingal, Mr. Pandya and Manmohan. They were all there, and all the members enjoyed a wonderful afternoon in Prabhupada's presence. By his own example, Prabhupada had taught us the meaning of real culture, the importance of hosting guests and serving them prasada. And from then on, we serve the members prasad every Sunday after the noon arti. So this is how Prabhupada instituted the first Sunday love feast in Juhu Beach. And we go on to the naming of the deities in Juhu Beach. Although our deities had been in Juhu for more than 2 years, they did not have specific names. One day I mentioned this to a few devotees and they encouraged me to bring up the topic with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, I requested, can you name our deities? Yes, he replied. What about Radha, Madan, Mohana? Srila Prabhupada, the deities in Hyderabad are already called Madana, Mohana. Then what about Radha Govinda? Srila Prabhupada, the deities in New York are called Radha Govinda. Srila Prabhupada paused thoughtfully considering. What about Radha Ras Bihari? Is that all right? Yes, Srila Prabhupada. And smiling in bliss, I paid my obeisances and left. Later, I was going back over the exchange. I thought about how in Vrindavan the 3 principal deities were Madan, Mohana, Govinda and Gopinath, corresponding to Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. And in our discussion, we had gone from Madan Mohana to Govinda to Ras Bihari, the enjoyer of the Rasa dance, Prayojana, the goal. So Ras Bihari means the enjoyer of the Rasa dance. So also we continue and we hear of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Swami Goswami, who had to undergo an operation, a hernia operation. And it's a really amazing pastime. In Delhi, Tamal Krishna discovered that he had a hernia. And when he had come to Juhu, he had informed Srila Prabhupada. Hernias couldn't be cured by medicine. Prabhupada told him the only way was to have an operation. My Guru Maharaj also had a hernia, he said, but he wouldn't get operated because he found out there was a plot to kill him. So he just tolerated. This was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada. So we have Tamal Krishna Maharaj going to a Bombay hospital. It was owned by devotees or a life member, and he had the operation. But Prabhupada actually wanted Tamal Krishna Maharaj to go to America to have this operation. So Prabhupada rushed It was difficult to phone the hospital at that time, so they got into one of the jeep cars that they had, and Prabhupada drove off to the hospital. By the time we arrived, it was too late. The operation had already been done. As Tamal Krishna had been wheeled into the surgical theatre, he had been meditating on Shri Shri Radha Ras Bihari on the Aarti. And when he awoke from the anesthesia, Prabhupada was sitting by his bed. I came as fast as I could to stop the operation, Prabhupada told him, but I was too late. Srila Prabhupada, Tamal Krishna said, I had a dream while they were doing the operation. This is very important. The dream is factual. Tamal Krishna Maharaj is speaking. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Gaur Hari ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This is Tamal Krishna Maharaj speaking. I had a dream while they were doing the operation. I dreamt that you were giving a report to your Guru Maharaj and Gaur Kishore Das Babaji and Srila Bhakti Vinod and all the members of the disciplic line. You were reporting on your activities here on this planet. They asked you how everything was, and you said that you had studied the people of this planet, and as far as you were concerned, they have no good qualities. They are not pious. They are not austere. They are not very capable of studying and learning. And they didn't have any good qualifications. The only thing is that somehow or other, some of them have been induced, and they have been able to take shelter of my lotus feet. Whatever I say, they accept, and in this way they are becoming redeemed. So this is Prabhupada's report to his Guru Maharaj and to the previous Acharyas. And Prabhupada in his report is saying, somehow they have taken shelter of my lotus feet. Whatever I say, they accept, and in this way they are becoming redeemed. Prabhupada smiled and nodded in approval. Actually, he said, this is a fact. See? Taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet is the only way we can become redeemed. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj was one of the central key figures in the Juhu project. But during this time in 1974, he decided to leave and go back to America. He was the GBC of India, and Prabhupada gave him major responsibilities, and which he was carrying out very nicely. So during this time, he discussed with Prabhupada of going back to America. Srila Prabhupada, Tamal blurted out, I was thinking maybe I should go back to America for some time. Prabhupada was thoughtful. Why? Well, I can probably quote half of the Bombay municipal codes, but I can't quote nearly as many verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Oh, that is not very good. What will you do? I can preach there. I'm a sannyasi and I've been managing too much. This Bombay case has taken so much effort. We are being in lawyers' offices and I've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours like that. I think I need a change. Actually, he had been considering this since he had met up with Vishnu Jan in India, and Vishnu Jan had told him how great the preaching was in America. Vishnu Jan had suggested that they go traveling together in a bus, holding festivals, distributing books, and recruiting devotees. I think this was the birth of the famous Radha Damodar traveling Sankirtan party. It was very successful during the 70s in America. So Prabhupada considered this this a serious matter. Srila Prabhupada considered this a serious matter. Tamal Krishna was his GBC for India. And great progress has been made in the 4 years he had held the position. Prabhupada was aware of how austere serving in India could be for his Western students. Yet without them, it would not be possible to develop Lord Chaitanya's mission on the subcontinent. Before going to America, he had tried, but without success. But now he had positive results. He was reluctant to change course and kept a tight rein on his disciples' movements. Tamal Krishna was an authority figure, and anything he did would be a precedent. If he left India, others might follow. Srila Prabhupada did not make an immediate decision. Tamal Krishna spoke with him several times about the proposal, and finally, after a few days, he thought he had at first, although he had at first been reluctant, Prabhupada concluded that a brief change might be beneficial. Yes, he said, we can always pay a manager, but preaching is a matter of realization. Very important statement by Prabhupada. Preaching is a matter of realization. He stressed how important preaching was to the movement. Without it, he said, ISKCON will become rubbish. The management will be at our fingertips if the devotees simply follow the rules, chant and take prasad. Preaching is first. Prabhupada told Tamal about how he too had left home to preach. I was always thinking how I could benefit everyone. As the Bhagavad Gita says, Sarva Bhutanam, unless one has come to this realization, how he can be a representative of God. I never had any national or humanitarian concerns, but concern for all living entities. Even at home, as a householder, I was preaching and people were coming. But my family members were upstairs drinking tea. I was very angry with them. I told my wife, either you give up tea or lose your husband. She thought I was joking. But I was determined and took sannyasa. I finally took it the family took it as a great shock. But now I am fully satisfied. It is our good fortune that you had this disagreement with your wife and that she chose tea instead of you, Tamal said. Because now we are all saved. Go and preach and remain active, Prabhupada said. And when you are old enough, you can go and sit down in Mayapur and chant Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada also made a prediction. His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj in 2002, he left his body in Shridham, Mayapur. His samadhi is in Mayapur. So Prabhupada, he says, and when you are old enough, you can go and sit down in Mayapur and simply chant Hare Krishna. Then we hear of Prabhupada going to Hyderabad in April. Prabhupada left and he went to Hyderabad. And there he also spoke. One thing that was still outstanding was the no objection certificate. And the police commissioner, the reason he stated for not approving this certificate was that the kirtan would be a nuisance. The bhajan is a nuisance. So while in Hyderabad, Prabhupada also spoke in his lectures and the people that he met about this objection by the police department on the grounds that the bhajan is a nuisance. After 10 days in Hyderabad and Tirupati, Prabhupada returned to Bombay. On his first morning walk, he explained why he felt that in pursuance of Krishna's mission, it was his duty to expose false swamis, yogis, sadhus and all sorts of other religious and political so-called leaders. I had read aloud from the Krishna book that Krishna had invented himself just to kill the undesirable elements in the world. And Prabhupada responded, yes. Similarly, this movement is invented to kill the so-called yogis, swamis, avatars, philosophers, commentators, rascals. We have to kill them. Kill means vanquish these rascals, so-called swamis. People challenge me. Why do you criticize others? Because we have to vanquish them. Now these people cannot come up. When there is sunrise, there is no use for these glowworms. Prabhupada makes a nice comment. This Krishna consciousness movement is Krishna himself. Therefore they must all be finished all over the world. The so-called religionists, so-called philosophers, so-called avatars, swamis and yogis, finished. Our program should be like that. So also another nice topic comes up in their conversations with Prabhupada. One topic we'll read about is something that we can all understand and we all experience, sufferings. So the topic turned to devotees' sufferings. Oh Lord, I read, you have descended especially for the purpose of annihilating all kinds of disturbing elements within the world. And because you are the absolute truth, there is no difference between your mercy and your punishment. The surgical operation is there, Prabhupada explained. The knife is used on the patient's body, but that means he is getting relief. It is not punishment. Is that benefit coming? In all suffering, I asked, or only when it is given by Krishna? When there is suffering given by Krishna, therefore, a devotee does not take suffering seriously. Tatte anukampam shu shamik shamana. A devotee thinks it is a favor of Krishna that he has put me into suffering. They never see suffering as suffering. It is Krishna's favor. That is a devotee's vision. It is exactly like a son who knows his father well. If the father slaps, the son never protests. He knows that it is good for me. Similarly, a devotee never is disturbed when there is suffering given by Krishna. A karmi's suffering is just the laws of. The karmi is different. He is suffering like a criminal is suffering. A criminal is given a slap by the police, but that slap and the father's slap are different. Although they look the same, there is a great difference. So there is no benefit in suffering unless it is connected with Krishna. Swatswarup asked. Yes, therefore we should fully surrender to Krishna. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Marobi Rakobi Yo Icha Tohara. Now I surrender. Now if you want to maintain me, that is all right. And if you want to kill me, that is also all right. This is surrender. It is not business. If you maintain me, then I surrender. If you kill me, then I do not. It is not like that. Marobi Rakobi Yo Icha Tohara. Now as you like. If you want to maintain me, that is good. If you want to kill me, that is also good. This is a devotee's view. Also we'll find Prabhupada in his conversations and his dealing with devotees during this time, he gives very nice advice. Uh, Here he speaks to Giriraj Brahmachari at that time. Another evening, after a long day in the city, having as usual traveled day and back in crowded trains and to and from the train station in a crowded bus, and not having anything to eat since morning, I staggered up to Prabhupada's room exhausted. Prabhupada looked at me and asked, "How are you feeling?" Only then did I notice how weak and sick I was. "Well, frankly speaking, Prabhupada," I said, "I feel a little tired." He already knew and immediately ordered grapes for me. He said that they were good for strength and energy. Grapes, Prabhupada said, is good for strength and energy. Then he insisted that I eat the grapes in his presence. And after a minute or two, he had asked if I was feeling stronger. And I said, and yes, I was. I worked very hard for Krishna for 2 days, he concluded. And then to recuperate for 3 days, it was not a very good proposal. So Prabhupada here he recommends for strength and energy, one should eat grapes. Another time, he encouraged me to dress better. He told me, there is a saying, one who is known as a Brahmin does not have to wear a thread. People know they're also like you, but still you should dress more nicely. I never knew when he would give me an instruction, and whenever he did, I concentrated with my full attention and tried to commit to memory everything he said. But my method, he could see, wasn't the most reliable. To remember, he emphasized, means to remember to write it down. He added, you should always carry a pen and paper. And then told me something else that he wanted me to remember. So to remember means to remember to write it down. Prabhupada is giving instruction. Always carry a pen and paper. Prabhupada knew my mind. I was always attracted to the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And I imagined that one day I would like to be like them, roaming in the forests of Vrindavan chanting Krishna Krishna. But he was also concerned that his property be managed properly, and one evening he spoke to me about it. Raghunath Das managed his father's estate just like an expert businessman. He told me, similarly, you should manage your father's estate. Then you go to Vrindavan and become a Goswami. Another night, he explained to me the purpose of Gurukul in Krishna consciousness, children's education. We cannot expect that many of the students will stay in the temple, they said, but they should be trained so nicely that no matter what they did or what they do later in life, they will never forget Krishna. Then he told how he and his sister used to fly kites and pray to God to make their kites fly higher. They should be trained in such a nice way that no matter what they did in life, they will never forget God. So Prabhupada, he wanted this he clearly says that not all of our Guru Kula children will live in the temple, but they should receive this training. They should be educated in this way that never to forget Krishna in their lives. And at this time, there were many tenants living on the property, and Prabhupada would notice the children playing. And Prabhupada commented once, Prabhupada's apartment was in the middle of the tenement buildings, so you could hear the children playing below. And sometimes he would comment on how he wished they could all become devotees. He said that he would be he would like to propose to the tenants that they would all live on our land rent-free. If only they would become devotees, attend the temple programs, chant Hare Krishna, and follow the regulative principles. So we'll end with our little section on how to be successful. We are successful because we try to please Krishna. And Krishna is merciful and reciprocates with us. This was in response to probably like the day before, during one arti, Prabhupada noticed that there was no kirtan going on. And then he inquired from the devotee Haridas who was serving him. So Haridas came down and he saw no one as well. And then he found out that the devotees went to a life member's home to have kirtan because his mother passed away. And all the devotees went to have kirtan at his house. Therefore, there was no devotees in the temple during the arti. So then Haridas suggested that all the he just thought maybe all the devotees went into the city for collecting. And then Prabhupada commented, Haridas soon returned and told Prabhupada that he looked everywhere and that there were no devotees around. They must have gone to the city to collect and not yet returned, he suggested. This is not my idea. They should go to the city and collect all day and night. Prabhupada said, our process is to please Krishna. They may go at 9 in the morning and return by 5 in the evening. And then chant in front of the deities. Otherwise, they will become karmis. We are successful because we please Krishna and Krishna is merciful and reciprocates with us. Otherwise, Mr. Nair was very much more powerful than we. He had money, influence, his own daily newspaper. He had contacts, so many politicians and government officers. And who were we? We had no money, no influence, no support. Yet we were successful because we are simply trying to please Krishna. Follow the regulative principles of devotional service by Krishna's grace. So we should come and sing and dance in front of the deities and please them. And by their grace, we will get all success. We are not successful by our own strength. We are successful by Krishna's grace. In the morning, Prabhupada asked all the devotees that had been. In the morning, Prabhupada asked where all the devotees had been the night before. And we explained that Mr. Kanderwal had invited us to perform kirtan after the death of his mother. Well, Prabhupada said, that is all right. So here Prabhupada also will end with this very nice point. We are successful because we try to please Krishna. And Krishna is merciful and reciprocates with us. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh, comment and questions.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
On the point of simple living, high thinking that you made, I mean, in our situation, and in many other situations around the world, like devotees can't necessarily fulfill that, especially when we're in cities preaching, which Prabhupada also wanted. So in your travels, have you seen that, I mean, places where they are doing simple living and high thinking, growing their own food and eating like that, they are at an advantage spiritually? They're making more advancement than, for instance, in a city?
So simple living and high thinking, even in cities like our center, like where we are, Our goal is to live simply. Whether we grow our own food or we buy out. Like we've read with the pastime of Shankar Prabhu. He was given the service of gardening and he asked Prabhupada, should we plant vegetables? Prabhupada told him no. For one, we didn't have enough space, and then he said we could simply buy the vegetables from the market. So the ultimate point is that whether we're growing our vegetables on our own or we're buying it out from the market, the end product is like we take prasad. And Prabhupada says in a purport in Bhagavad Gita, the only purpose of food is to aid bodily strength. So when we have that strength, then we can carry out our devotional activities. And that's how we will make advancement. So it doesn't matter where we're living. We're living on an ISKCON farm, or we're living in the city center. Simple living means we do what's necessary to maintain the body. We don't complicate our lives further. And high thinking means we cultivate Krishna consciousness. Whether we're living on the farm or in the city, we cultivate Krishna consciousness by following the process that Prabhupada has given. Chanting Hare Krishna, following the regulative principles, reading his books. That's high thinking. So it doesn't matter where you're situated. And advancement is, we advance by following the process. It doesn't mean the situation we are in. It's very nice, peaceful, nice ocean view or lake, or seeing the cows. Your mind, if it's disturbed, your mind goes wherever you go. Even if you go to the most scenic and peaceful place, if you're disturbed, you're still disturbed in that place as well. So how we become free from that disturbed situation is by engaging in Krishna consciousness, cultivating Krishna consciousness.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Radhika Jivan, for your class today. There's so many nice points were made. I was just jotting them down, and I've read this, and heard it years ago when I joined also. Many of these points. But as you were reading them, it became it was strengthening me because, and I was surprised to know that Prabhupada, in the few paragraphs that you read or you paraphrased, covered such important aspects of Krishna consciousness: Guru Puja, the deities, how to become successful, devotee care, how Prabhupada took care of the devotees, taught them how to deal with the guests. It's amazing, this is what you said, and we can learn from this. But talking about Shankar Prabhu, I was there in 2002 when he was there and he was speaking. He gave a class on he was speaking on Srimad Bhagavatam. And the amazing thing about him, he was prepared to do anything for what Srila Prabhupada wanted him to do. And that's the good mood of a disciple. So once Srila Prabhupada, cooked, they didn't have a cook. But he doesn't know how to cook. He said, no, I can cook. And then there was meant to make samosas. So he tried and all, he made something. And he took it to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada again, what's this? Football. He made it a round football, but still, he was ready to serve Srila Prabhupada. And that was an interesting point, that despite not being qualified or not having the acumen to cook, he wanted to do it. He was a very amazing, humble devotee. And then he spoke about, he went to Mayapur, and in Mayapur, all those trees, that palm trees and all, he planted. He was involved in that planting of those trees. Still there. So it's amazing. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.